Hidden. How's it going? I hope you guys are all having a good one. Yeah. I'm not entirely too sure what I want to be doing for today's stream. Hold on a minute. Hold on, that's actually important. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm back. There we go. Trying to close something, but it wasn't bloody closing. No, that wasn't it. Basically, some of my friends who are taking a course in my last college. So, I want to run you guys through this. They're taking a course of Bachelor of Animation. Now, they have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 assessments throughout this year. And you'll be like, how many practical assessments do they have? 4. 11 assessments. Now, some of them are overlapping, right? Are written. Only one of them, and that's the last one, isn't written. Like, if I change screens... let me... bring it up. Look at this. Written. Presentation and written. Practical and written. Practical, written. Written, presentation. Which I don't know why they're swapping these around. Written, practical, and presentation. Bro. That's kind of grim. So... yeah, they don't seem particularly happy that they have to be going through that. And honestly, I wouldn't be as well when you're spending like thousands of dollars, like $10,000 or so, to go to college for the year. And 4 of those assessments is animation. Not great, right? Not great at all. So yeah, I kind of feel them on that one. We have a couple of written things, but it's not that bad generally. So I guess I don't know what they're doing, dude. And last year they didn't learn any animation, and so 2 of my friends are like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be continuing along with this course because 11 assessments written, only 4 practical assessments. What are you gaining, right? You need to be able to be tested and see how your stuff is. And all of it's just fucking written work. Written's useless. I don't know, man. That seems pretty annoying. Otherwise, yeah, I've been, what have I been up to? Playing some games. Been playing some games. Been playing some, going back into some games. Otherwise, just working on my assessment. And I want to do maybe a little bit of writing tonight. Maybe not. We'll see. I kind of want to get some written. I need to get 70 more words in an essay, and I should be able to hand it over to a teacher to get it checked. But I need to get it done by tomorrow. Otherwise, oh, we had a chat. So in one of the classes we were talking about games that like ethics and morality in games, and we were talking really about ethics and morality and kind of like whether things should be like what's okay for games, right? Like what's fine. And so one of the things brought up was in The Witcher. Oh, okay. So actually one other thing. A lot of what we talked about were stuff like the old you got I don't know, 3 or 5 guys on a train track, right? And then you have another guy on another train track. If you press this lever, the train will not hit the 5 guys on the track, but then it will hit the single guy. But if you ignore it and you leave it, right? Are you the fault of them dying? Or because you have the opportunity to save those 5 guys, but on the other side, you are forcibly choosing to, do a move that is going to result in this one guy dying. If that makes sense. So, sorry if I'm like half paying attention here. I have a bunch of brushes in ZBrush. It doesn't even have a brush. Hold on. I'm just looking through some of my stuff. Oh. If anybody's actually interested, I'll share my screen. Hey, Kesha, sorry I missed your message. I had something covering. I'm doing alright, my dudes. Just sorting out some files and stuff. I have an issue where everything's inside of a folder, inside of a folder, if that makes sense. So I'm just switching around. Thanks for the love hearts, my dude. Have you... Surely you almost finished your assessments, right? How far away are you from that? Because when was it? That was last week, and I can't remember if you mentioned you had an extra week or you know, how that was going. But you must be nearly done, right? Hoping those are all gone as good as the first one went, which I believe you mentioned it went well. So a heap of love hearts, my dude. Just sorting it out because I'd always have to keep going through folder through folder just to reach my brush. But yeah, what have I been working on? It's a brush. Oh yeah, so I was playing, what was I saying? I was saying, anyway, so we did a chat about that, and something that was brought up was Witcher. And there's this quest in The Witcher where it's like, basically there's this lady who's dying, right? And you pretty much know she's going to die if you leave her, right? You could feed her like one of your Witcher potions, right? But Witcher potions are very strong and have a chance of killing people, and they're not good and not really tested for that. What am I doing? I'm just talking about. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a ZBrush, maybe a bit of writing, and then playing some games. But at the moment, I'm just talking about some philosophies and stuff with morals and ethics and stuff within some video games. So, currently talking about The Witcher and one of the quests that you can do, a side quest. So you see somebody who's dying, right? If you leave them, they're gonna die, right? Probably. If you... I'm just seeing it, buddy, going up and up and up. But if you feed her a potion, is she going to therefore... that may save her, but that could also kill her, or it could negatively impact her. You know, what are you going to do? Are you going to just leave her and to die? She dies. No good. Or you can try and save her, but her situation may technically be worse. I don't recall doing that one, but I apparently had done it, and I chose to leave her to die. I don't know why I made that decision. And if I were given the option to do something and it might save her, I'd probably choose that. But I also know The Witcher, as well as I know Witcher potions and stuff like that. So I must have decided with that prior knowledge not to save her. Turns out, if you save her, she effectively becomes like a shell of herself. She is mentally not there. She isn't the same person as she was. She doesn't exist. She effectively needs to be, you know, mentally she doesn't exist. It's like just a physical shell. She is just effectively, you know, effectively a baby, right? Which kind of puts her in a worse situation, really. Some would argue. Some would say maybe that's a better situation. I don't know if I would call it better or worse, but on one side, she's not dead. On the other side, she's not really alive either. There's a cleaver that I was working on in class for one of my assessments. Currently loading. I mean, it's alright, but I don't know, I need to check something. Trying to sort out. Turns out there may have been an oopsie with the package. and wrong phone numbers, which is annoying, but I should still be able to get that. What's the music? Yeah, sorry. Just trying to sort out with a friend. I missed his fucking phone number by one thing when doing something. There's The Witcher. Wild Hunt. This, in particular, the Heart of Stone. How am I? I'm fine. Been a bit busy. Hold on. Alright, sorry. Which is a good game. Yeah, no, sorry. A friend's card wasn't working. He ended up needing me to buy the package for him, and then I must have done a fucking number wrong or something, even though we both double checked it and we both missed it. So I'm just like, oh. It wasn't even just me who missed it, it was the fucking both of us. And so now he bloody wasn't there, so he missed the package, and now he's trying to get the package, and it's like, oh shit, well now it's going to the wrong fucking number. So it's like, oh fuck. But yeah, I love The Witcher. Sorry. It's just I'm gonna try and figure out what the fuck to do now with that. I love The Witcher, which is also, speaking of, something that I've been getting back into. Not that I like necessarily got out of The Witcher, but for me, I kind of like. That's right. I have periods where I like heavily enjoy it, and then I'll stop playing for a little bit, and because if I just play The Witcher, I would get worried. I would be a bit out of it. I finished the final Witcher book, so I'm up to the final short story, Seasons of Storms. I cannot wait to get further into it, but holy moly, it was a really good book. The ending was rather inconclusive. So yeah, sorry about fucking being a little bit out of it. We're trying to figure out what he should do. I've played a little bit of Thronebreaker. It turns out you could skip missions because I got really pissed off. I'm pissed. There was a specific mission where nobody could die. And I'm guessing I found that one of the issues with this game, some missions, the only way to succeed is to have a legitimate perfect deck. If you misplace a card, you will not be able to win, right? Which is rather annoying. Which got it really annoying. Right? No, I didn't. But yes, so that seems fine. Otherwise, I've been helping people with the blender a little bit. I did a I'll close this. Mostly finished with that. It's still a little bit unfinished because I've got a texture and a bit of stuff is going to be towards the texture side of things, but I want to get a good chunk of it. Okay, side note. Picking ZBrush. Let me see. Where do they post it? Hold on. We were talking about ZBrush earlier, and I'm not too sure where it went. Sorry, hold on. Ah, fuck. Okay, dude. If I'm not going to be able to find it there, I'm just going to show you guys the actual thing. If I go into... Come on. Educational licensing. Motherfucker, dude. Oh, wait, will it work here? Why do they have that page if it doesn't fucking... Sorry, Calm. Space the page. Look at this. This is 60 USD, right? For this. This used to be 20 last year. This used to be 20. Now it's 60 USD. 20 New Zealand D as well. That was 5 USD. It was 10 USD for the year. It's now 60. That shit is stupid. Now, luckily, I purchased the program, so I'm not in too much of a problem. But, yeah, inflation. Oh, it's 100% greed, I'm telling you, dude. It's greed. They didn't add anything else, and this is over 1 year, right? As of December last year, it was $10, right? It went up to 40 New Zealand dollars. So that's probably around like 25 USD, 30 USD. And then since then, that was at the start of the year. Since then, as of I think about today, or like this week, or really, they've decided to move it up to 60. They have not introduced anything new. If anything, they've taken things away. There's a couple of packages here that are gone that used to be here. So it's kind of like, fuck, dude. They are incredibly greedy. They're like the worst software. Not the worst, but they're horrible, dude. To put in perspective, there was another software that used to own it called Pixelogic. You'd buy it once, updates free forever. Now, then last year, ever since Maxon bought it out, it was a shit ton of money. It was around like 1,000 USD to put in perspective. Anyway, you don't even get infinite updates for free. So they increase the price. The updates aren't even free. It was only 1 year of updates. Then you'd have to spend another 600 USD for updates. And on top of that, now, as of this year, they've removed that, so you can't even buy it perpetual. You have to spend 350 US dollars a year. That's the cheapest that you can get it. Outside of like being a student. Like, oh my god, dude, that's so expensive. Not worth it. At that point, just use Blender. They are so scammy. Anyway, I worked on a Nebula. I'm following a course. If anybody knows, maybe I don't show that actually. How do I not show this? I'm following a course. If anybody knows, and is interested in Blender, there's this guy Gleb Alexandrov, and he made a course with 80 Burrows to do, you know, nebulas and stuff. I made a couple, which I posted on my Twitter and stuff. I don't really... I don't honestly use Twitter and shit that much. Compared to how much I should, honestly. But, let me see if I can bring it up. Not my Twitter, though. Better quality seeing the actual ones. I have a lot of files, sorry. Here we go, it should be here. So this was my first nebula that we worked on of the course. Pretty good. I like it. Although it feels very small and compact when I really look at it. And then there's this one, which is what that ended up being when rendered. It's got some slight, I did some slight, you know, editing. This was what it came out of the program. I just did some slight editing to change it up a little bit. Personally, I prefer it with the edit, but because otherwise I wouldn't, you know, have edited it. But thank you. So course, really good. If anybody's interested, I'll show you guys. It's on Blender Market. It's just this decent bit of money, but in my opinion, I mean, what it brings is worth it. What I'm looking forward to is when I get up to Starfields, which will be, you know, they introduce stars here. They show off how to do stars, and then how to make things look super good, really, with that. They show off like dust clouds and shit like that as well, just to make it so it's not just a nebula floating and doing nothing. It kind of brings it to a whole nother level, really. So that was pretty cool. I'm enjoying that one. So anybody's interested in my personal time, what I'm doing, a bit of that, a bit of other things of, like, you know, playing around with some new software. We're getting Gaia, which is this program for anybody who doesn't know anything about it. We got a program here called Gaia, for example, this. Something that I made. Just gonna take a minute. So it's only at 1K textures, so it's not perfect resolution, but let's let it run a little bit. Ta-da! So this is Gaia, software for making terrains and whatnot. It's getting an update to 2.0. There's currently 1.3 or something. So yeah, 1.32. So this is going to be good. Really excited for this. I'm going to be bringing this up. It's coming out in the weekend. So I should probably say, from what I know of now, I won't be streaming tomorrow, which I would usually be doing. As I got plans of catching up with somebody that I haven't talked to for a while. Unless something goes on with that. Do I make that? Yes and no. It's following a bit of a tutorial to get the basics, and then I've kind of customized it to be how I want it to do. Everything's fully... let's see. Everything's fully customizable, so let me see if I can go... Let's just say if I change the seed to a completely random seed, we're going to regenerate it all. For example, this is like completely customizable because I don't know what this is going to look like. This could completely break for all I know because I haven't built it with this in mind. Here we go. This is completely different with just a click of a button. This does look fairly similar though. That's pretty cool. I quite like those streams coming down though. I could technically run it at 2K, which would look significantly better, but I don't know how well it's going to run. So it's a bit of a tutorial, a bit of you know, exploring, finding what I like about it, and changing a couple of things. You know, some different materials, some different stuff. And I plan to further explore the program and stuff with 2.0, as I want to make. I don't know if it's running well or not currently. Struggling a little bit because this will be doing a heap of let me see once it loads. Oh, there we go. It probably doesn't show too much, but it would have been capping my... There we go. This looks good, and this isn't even 4K. If I run it at 4K, it'd look even better, but that takes about 5 minutes to run. So let's... Oops, that's the wrong setting. Why is this not rotating? Will I do a Q&A live stream? I'm going to be honest, my dude. Every live stream's a Q&A live stream. If you're interested, just ask any question. Was interested though in doing a live stream for what software I use and what I recommend. If you guys are interested, I can maybe talk about that. Albeit this is more for, I do game development for anybody who's watching that doesn't know already. I do game development. It's kind of, you know, I'm doing a course, you know, a full-on bachelor's degree on it. I've done game development for a multitude of years. I think 2017, 2018 was when I technically started my game development journey. But you could argue that the first couple years I did in high school and those were not great. So, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things. If you're like starting to explore something and you're enjoying it, but you're not really doing too much, then does that really count? If you have any questions though, feel free to ask. The issue with a Q&A live stream, I find, is I don't know what questions people want to know the answers to. That's interesting enough. Will I post a game on Steam? On Steam, I have plans to in the future. I had plans to upload one onto Steam, but then we kind of never really got around to it. We worked on a game last year. It is up on my YouTube channel if you're interested, but if I go, what site do we use? I don't have it saved. What's that popular site, bro? I should probably know where the fuck I post my things to. Hold on a minute, let me see if I can find. How do I not know this? Hold on, this is embarrassing. Let's see if it comes up when I search it up. It does. Okay, it does. Itch.io, sorry. It fucking, yeah, itch. Arguably, I should know these things. But, you know, here we go. This is our game that we made, a couple of us. And, I mean, this isn't good quality because I'm fucking, it's the start of it, but, yeah, I mean, it's alright. So it's a type of game called Sokoban, where you, effectively it's pushing blocks into goals and that unlocks the next objective and stuff like that. It's an interesting game, feel free to get it. It's called Turmaride on itch.io. Feel free to get it if you're interested. I've posted a couple things onto itch, but not that. I posted a couple games here, but none of them I think Miner's Adventure I worked on last year. That was a solo project. I worked on this alone. It's a bit buggy. I didn't end up fixing some of the issues. I got kind of annoyed, and it would have taken too long. Maybe one day I'll come back to it and fix it up. And then I got Turmaride. Which, one thing you may see is these are all pixel games because I found Game Maker extremely easy, and that's what we ended up using for Skull. But this year we're doing more 3D focused games, and I'm going to be uploading stuff that hopefully I think is valuable, you know, good enough to be on Steam. As it's still 100 USD to get it up on Steam. I think next year we're working on one big game as a group over the whole year, and that one I will probably end up sticking on Steam. As that would be worthwhile for me, I believe. And then I have a couple places that I want to work at potentially once I leave. One of them might be something like Grinding Gear Games. That work on Path of Exile. Not because I'm interested particularly in Path of Exile, but they are based in New Zealand, and I mean, it seems like a relatively interesting game that I could work on. Unfortunately, New Zealand's relatively small, so there's not too many studios in New Zealand, and then which ones would be suited for me. It also reduces stuff. Like, I like to do like more realism based stuff, or not necessarily pure full realism, but realistic kind of stuff, if that makes sense. I don't do anything like NPR, if you know what that means. Non-photo realistic, which is the opposite of photorealistic. Oh shit, hold on. This has gone to negative since I last checked. Apparently the game's broken. Sorry, I was interested in this for a while. Not to purchase, but I enjoy the Battlefront games. The original ones. And they were re-releasing it for a bit of a ridiculous amount of money, considering I bought them both for about $5 New Zealand each. So, and this is 50. I don't think it's worth it. The only reason to really get this is for multiplayer, and apparently the multiplayer is not actually working, so it's like a bit of a poor move. But yeah, I don't particularly want to do writing. I have to write an essay that I've been working on. It's a response essay, and I hate it, dude. I have fucking 7 or 28. Oops. Fucking references that I'm gonna have to do full-on APA referencing for. I am not excited. I need an extra 30, words, which is just gonna be, 70 words, which is annoying. Because currently I'm at, this isn't the same, hold on. Let me fix this up, sorry. Because this is incredibly important. Arial 12, and I need a justification of 1.5. CSA 4. So the essay, we have to write an essay. We've got 3 essays we have to write, and this one's a response essay, and I'm responding to somebody who states, video games are better without... television is better without video games, and this is my response to it, saying, I completely disagree in that I think television is better with video games. Video games being adaptations, sorry. So stuff like Cyberpunk Edgerunners, The Last of Us adaptation, Super Mario movie, right? These sorts of things. Arcane, even. And I mean, I just go over pretty basic stuff. Just mentioning games that are popular, that could be, for example, I mean, this one, basically, this guy mentions how games effectively demand action and whatnot, and that's why they can't really be, you can't really adapt them, and I'm just like, bro, some of the best games, you got What Remains of Edith Finch, story-based games, Firewatch, Stanley Parable, you're bound to have heard one of those. Pure story-based games, that is, they don't have any fucking, any action, and they're all pretty fucking popular. As well as, ironically, the same guy who wrote this stated What Remains of Edith Finch, should have been, it should have been a film instead of a game. I mean, motherfuckers switching up, right? The FNAF movie would be one of those as well, which I haven't brought up, but I mean, it's not necessarily a bad idea. That one was pretty popular, I believe. And then here I just mentioned popular shit like The Last of Us. For anybody who is interested in some statistics that I've had to gather, The Last of Us TV show, once that was released, The Last of Us first game peaked at an increase of 270% higher people playing it than, what it was prior. as well as the second game bumping up an extra 187% increased popularity. That is, you know, significant, as well as The Witcher went up by 100,000 players and over 1 million logging in on the day, each day for a while. So that's pretty successful, considering how popular that was. And then I just mentioned other things like how it's very popular, like a 100% positive critic score on Rotten Tomatoes with a 95% audience score. And we're not talking like 5 ratings either. We're talking, you know, 2,500 plus, and winning an award and whatnot. I go to mention some other shit, and some successes that there have been, like Arcane hitting a 9.0 on IMDb, winning 4 Primetime Emmys. I believe they won 22 awards in total. But I wrote Emmys here because Emmys are fucking popular in comparison to some random shit that isn't as popular. I could have awards myself and give them out. That's why some of those are a bit relevant. So this one's due next week. So it's a bit, yeah. Once it goes above 100%, is it like multiplayer? A multiplier? That's a good question. I believe so. It's like any percent is a is sort of like a multiplier. So like 100% is like a 2 times more popular. So if you're getting 100% more people, that means that, let's say you had 10 people playing, 100% more would be 200. Would be 20, and then, you know, 200 would be 300. If that would be 30. Sorry, it's a little bit weird. I gotta be honest. I gotta quote it exactly how they wrote it, and personally, I don't like doing those sorts of statistics, like percentage base. I like it's more valuable if you say, for example, it increased by like 100,000 players. I think is more valuable than something like percentage base. Percentage base makes it sound better, but it's not really conclusive. If you had 5 people playing, then, you know, even a 500% increase isn't going to be much, right? That would be 250. No, if you have 5, it'd be 25. Sorry, players, and 25 players isn't much. So, unfortunately, it wasn't the best, but it was the only fucking source that I could find stating the increase. So, a bit annoying, but I take what I can get, you know. So that's just an essay that I've been writing. I need to get an extra. The issues, I think I got something like around 1,600 words, but I need technically 400 and 1,450, but that is excluding references and quotes and shit like that. Can I recommend any DSLR cameras for reality capture? Side note, didn't reality capture become free recently? I've seen something about that. Or maybe there's a different one that wasn't reality but similar to reality capture. Anyway. Yeah. So, that's interesting. I've also been looking into that. Not looking into camera side, but next month. That's interesting. I personally have a Canon 1500D. They're pretty expensive. Probably don't need it. What I would recommend... Honestly, I would beg the question. I got that one for school. Back when I took photography, and I still use it. These cameras are nice to have, regardless. You'd beg the question, You probably don't even need a DSLR. You could either choose out of a mirrorless or a DSLR, which is just a digital SLR. I can't remember what SLR stands for. Mirrorless has its pros. It's generally lighter. It can shoot faster, better with video, stuff like that. I can't remember the pros of DSLR, honestly. I know DSLR generally has better lenses, and mirrorless is sometimes a little bit hit or miss with that. What do I recommend? Honestly, it depends on your price point, and I'm honestly not the best guy with cameras. I'm gonna be honest. I know a couple cameras, and I know like your brands and whatnot. But do I know what's best for value? What's the best biggest sensor? Probably, yeah. Hey, thanks for coming in, my dude, and I appreciate it. You talking and stuff, and catch you next one, eh? Bigger sensor, that probably makes sense. I would say anything from like Nikon or Canon or so. I think it depends on what you're really after, right? Like, I think Canon's good, but it's also a bit overpriced from what I generally hear. Nikon's pretty good. What other ones do you have? You got the Sony ones. Those are really good. I think it depends on your value. And I would honestly say you're probably not going to be getting too wrong, as it's generally about the lens generally compared to the camera. You can, as long as it has the features that you're after, like it can shoot, you know, whatever you need, right? Obviously, the more megapixels, maybe the more quality that you're going to be able to get out of the image, or, you know, can it even shoot 4K? Can it shoot, like, you know, I think a lot of these good ones, like what I have, is shoot 6,000 by 4,000 pixels, which is massive. Others might not be able to shoot too high, stuff like that. So I don't really know, sorry, exactly what to go for. What I would say is, I think it doesn't necessarily matter too much about that. I think, considering that you can grab an iPhone and use something like Polycam, and it worked generally pretty fine. On the contrary, I've tried, for example, my camera working with Substance Sampler, which works, Adobe Substance Sampler that is, and it's terrible. I get terrible results, albeit I believe that's generally the program, Substance Sampler, as opposed to the camera. I've tried multiple cameras with that and it doesn't work well, so it's something to do with Substance, but I would say it really doesn't matter. Just look for something that fits your roles and is within your budget. I probably wouldn't buy it out of your budget unless you're you want actual pictures, like you're looking for picture quality outside of reality capture and shit. As generally that's fine. I think you can use phone camera capture as well, and it generally being fine. But yeah, probably just buy something from like a relatively mainstream brand. A lot of those are pretty popular for pretty good reason. Yeah, I probably wouldn't stress too much about it. I probably just wouldn't spend like thousands of dollars when I go big alone for 5,000-6,000. Fuck me, there's a lot of money. If you want my advice, which is a bit misconstrued because I am not a camera knowledgeable guy, but one thing that I would recommend, don't spend too much money. Like if this is, let's just say 5,000-6,000 USD, right? I don't do USD, but let's just say we're talking USD. You'd maybe want to spend maybe 1,000 to 2,000 on the camera, and then spend like a couple grand on the lens. The lens will give you the best quality out of the camera, albeit it's also like, there's so much about it, like how good the sensor is, how good the lens is. The lens makes up a lot of it, and then it's also like the person using it. Can you set the right settings? Can you set the right framing for everything? Then people put light in front of the lens. Yeah. And then on top of that, like, is that do you just want to spend that just on a camera, or would it be worth buying like a setup for it all, where you got it like a turntable? Because I would, for what I've done in the past, I would say a turntable is a must. I don't have a turntable of any form. I've walked around objects. I look like a bit goof, walking around, you know, ass sticking up and everything. And I can't get it fucking straight, I'm gonna be honest. I'll keep it real with you. What I've had the most succession with is actually grabbing my phone out, recording around an object, opening Blender, turning it into a sequence of images, and then importing and using that. Because then you got like a trillion fucking images. It takes up so much storage, but you know, you're not running out of images. That's not the most ideal way of doing it, and it would take forever though. Maybe even in reality capture. So, I'm not too sure, but yeah, definitely like lighting setup. Make sure it's all like smooth. You don't want any lights going directly on it. You'd probably want to like have bounce light. All good, all good. And have something like a neutral backdrop, really. I would spend a bit of time on the checking out backdrops, and so and it doesn't need to be big, right? It only needs to be realistically like that. Oh, well, let me get in my camera, but like that fucking big, right? Because you're just taking a small picture of an object, depending on how big the object is, really. Yeah, it's all good. I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll see what we got here in New Zealand. Pricing's obviously a bit different, but let's see if we go camera. We've only got really one store for these sorts of things, but so I got the 1500D, which is this one here. With a large number, I would have thought this one would be better, but apparently it's not. A lot of megapixels and shit. Why the fuck do they have a higher number then? That is, for a small brain like me, that is misconstruing the picture here. Do we only have cameras being sold? What the fuck am I saying? Canons. Yeah, I'm not too sure. If you want to like be spending way too much money for what you got, there's this brand. What is it called? It's like something H. This one, I don't know. This is just interesting to know. Expensive. It's like Hakkinen or something. Expensive camera brand. Hasselblad. These guys are fucking expensive, but these give you like amazing qualities. Leica, I've heard, is very good. I wouldn't be spending this much, especially for this type sort of shit, but these are interesting to go into. I would look at Sony, Nikon, and Canon, see what you got in your country and available for you. Yeah, that's excluding like buying expensive lenses and shit. But this shit is like if you look at Hasselblad, like images, the images that you get out of these are like fucking insane. Do they have any pictures taken with it? So you can use like really old lenses on this and it works like really well. I don't know if they got any fucking Hasselblad camera pictures. Here we go, sample images, let's see. They got some pretty crazy shit. Oh, dude, can I just fucking at least look at them? I don't want your shit. Oh, here we go. Let's say H system. This looks interesting. And I can't even click on them. This is just depressing, dude. I'm gonna be honest, they're not selling themselves. Motherfucker's got a $50,000 camera. 4 images. Dude. Come on. Does this have more than 4 images? This is a pretty sick looking picture though. We got more than 4. You still cannot click, and I don't want to download any images, but you got some crazy shit here. These ones are crazy. But then again, it's all about the operator, and let's be honest here. You're gonna have some crazy looking images with any camera. I've seen some like shit that I'm like, no fucking way they managed to pull this shit off with a shit camera. I'm like, what the fuck? These guys on a different level sometimes. So not particularly helpful, but maybe interesting. Also, highly don't recommend any of that, but yeah. But yeah, I'd probably look at a couple different lenses. I mean, when you're taking pictures for these sorts of things, you probably want to be sticking with capped at 32 megapixels. That's fair. 32 is like more than I think you'd find with entry and even medium. You see a lot of, I think those ones were like 100 or something megapixels, which is kind of insane. Now you could argue, I think the S20, the Ultra, the Samsung fucking phones have 200 megapixels. It's more than just megapixels, but on the other hand, megapixels also mean quite a lot. It's about the sensor with the pixels, really, with those having insane resolutions because of those megapixels, because they can use it. But, you know, I have a Samsung phone, and I tell you now, the sensors are way too fucking small to make use of that. It's just like a number at that point. But I'd look at getting a couple lenses, you know what I mean? Because for what you're doing for reality capture, you're probably not needing to worry too much about different lenses. You'd probably want to stick with something like a somewhere in between like 40 to 60 millimeter lens, but just to keep everything pretty natural. Or maybe you'd want something higher and have it zoomed in so it's a bit more flat. I don't know. But I think with a camera, just because you may be focusing on purchasing it for one reason doesn't mean you can't make the most of its other purposes, right? And that's something always cool. I like to fuck around with my camera sometimes, but not enough. Bro, these times are amazing, indeed. But I gotta be honest, I need to look more into reality capture and that shit. Reality capture. I don't know why I put these there. There's been a couple, and so I'm kind of surprised that these guys are going free. And I've looked into it. It was like you need to, unless you're spending more than like I think $1 million, it's free. And I'm like, shit, that's like really crazy compared to the prices of some of these programs. Because a lot of these are very expensive. I honestly should get more into this, because in reality, like these sorts of, yeah, they're gonna integrate it with Unreal. I saw that. The pricing seemed interesting, but that should be good. The issue that I run into would be, shit can be really unoptimized. I just say watertight, that's good. Because I've definitely seen some that really were questionable. And you have Nanite, which I'm guessing they'll be relying on Nanite to improve how well it runs. And there are some games that are coming out with, you know, full-on capturing, right? Like, you look at the whole Unrecord, how it's going. Unrecord is a lot of, you know, these are all, or maybe not everything is, but a lot of these sorts of things are, you know, being captured and, you know, translated, like a lot of that shit. Which is, I guess, why it's able to run, I guess, in Unreal, but, pretty insane. I believe they had a drone for a lot of that. Yeah, I'm wondering if that game will give me motion sickness. That's the thing. Okay, let's keep it real here, Chief. The way I look at it in a couple different ways. You look at it and it's like, this looks sick, right? And as like a video, and from an outside perspective, this looks really good. But the swaying of the gun is delayed, and like some of the movement is really shaky and harsh, and it looks insanely realistic. Like, I work with games and shit like that. I do 3D shit a lot. So I can kind of pick out a couple things, like, for example, that running, it doesn't look particularly realistic. But if I saw this, and I'm like, shit, this looks insanely realistic. And then, you know, it turns out it's the game, like, is it? You know, it took me a little bit to actually really break it down and go, no, this is definitely a game. It was really questionable. Some people were, like, they did a full-on no clip where they were going through all the walls and everything. They effectively, you know, just were moving around the base camera. And people were like, actually, that is, you know, they did some After Effects tricks there. No, no, that was a bit funny. That people were trying to say that, and it's like, oh my gosh, you guys are stupid. But I don't know. I feel like I might be the same. Or either that, or it might just be really confusing to use. It'd be really cool on a VR headset, right? But I definitely catch your drift there, mate, because I just worry, you know, with not necessarily motion sick. I don't generally get too motion sick, especially with games, but just the delayed movement of the hand is, I think, the biggest thing for me. Is that going to be off-putting? Is that going to make it really weird to aim and hard to get used to and just feel not good? There's some things when you run into the case, is realism worth it over the ability to do things? Like, I could make the most realistic game, but is that going to be fun? Is that going to feel good for the player? Not necessarily. It's like if you made, for example, Minecraft the most realistic game, you know, like everything, you know. Some people will enjoy that. There's some people that went out of their way to make super realistic Minecraft. Oh. But on the contrary, that would have pushed a lot of people away. And it is all perspective, right? You have other situations where you've got something like, for example, Arma, or you have something like Assetto Corsa, which are very realistic games in their niches, but then you also have to note that they're in their niches. You're not going to see some guy that likes playing fucking Mario Kart going and getting Assetto Corsa, right? I mean, obviously, somebody that likes Mario Kart can still like Assetto Corsa, but they are not the same. And any random person buying and playing Assetto Corsa will be like, fuck, dude, this feels confusing, hard, and it's a bit overbearing because of how complex and realistic some things are. And on the same with Arma, where you got some shit that you're just like, oh, fuck me, you know? Oh no, I've just been in a firefight. Time to reload each individual bullet because I can't be bothered wasting the mag, and or oh shit, you know, car coders is what I study. Oh sick. Oh man, I love cars, my dude. I love cars myself. Too expensive though. Okay, random fact. I found this out the other day ago. Random fact. Turns out, apparently New Zealand, where I live, has the highest percentage of car ownership. Let me find this. Oops, wrong thing. Let me find this. I don't have the actual source anymore, but look at this. Country, New Zealand is the highest with, per 1,000 inhabitants, the 869 people have a car. I found that very surprising over something like US, where US is like massive, and especially how large the cities are. Trying to get around the US without a car is a bit of a situation that sometimes isn't worth fucking around with. So I was surprised that New Zealand was #1! Not necessarily in the good way, though. But, yeah, a lot of people have cars. Some people have multiple cars here. It's not uncommon. Which I thought was kind of weird. Also, unfortunately, doesn't mean our cars are cheap, though. Our cars are fucking pretty expensive for what they are. But a lot of people like them. A lot of Japanese imports. It's generally where you're going to get your cheapest shit. I could do some retopology. I might do some retopology, and then I'm probably going to be playing some games. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock now. Oh, I don't know. I'm running out of time. Might do some retopology if you're interested. And not play some games. Just because I'll probably be streaming for another 30 minutes because I need to hop off early. But, yeah. Yeah, so Gaia 2.0 is coming. I've been talking about it a little bit lately. It's coming out Saturday. It's for making fancy, environments. Something, anybody who's interested in Age of Empires, there's a DLC coming, tomorrow. Unlocking in 9 hours. But it's skirmishes, you don't unlock anything. But that's anybody who's interested in Age. Let's go Cleaver retopo. So I'm retopologizing this, which means basically I have a mesh that I've made and I'm making it so it will actually run well, which is something that you could argue a lot of these new games that are coming out don't do a particularly good job at doing, unfortunately. Some of these run incredibly bad. Why is this being a bit of a goof? What is going on? Let me make sure that's live and then go here. Here we go. So here I am. What I gotta do is I gotta trace this, I guess the geometry of this mesh. And I want to match it. So it, why is it such a, sorry, I just get a little bit distracted there. I try to match it so it kind of, I feel like I could mirror this. I got no clue how. But yeah. Sorry. But yeah, so I just gotta match this, which is gonna be, it's a little bit tedious, but it's, I don't find it too bad. It's more just annoying more than anything. Not annoying, it's just a bit, it's just quite tedious. It's really all you're getting out of it, really. Just debating whether I want to, how I want to achieve this. Let me bring that down here. That so I got a question, like, for example, I don't really want to have an edge that goes down this whole thing, but then maybe I do. But if I do, then that can cause annoying issues that it's just going to be a bit of an annoyance to deal with. So I really got to question what is really worth here. Any let me see if I can match that. So I got a question like, is it worth me sticking mesh down there? Maybe it's worth, and I'm just being a bit pedantic. Let me start matching this. And so we've got a cut here that I want to get this cut. for example. So I'm just going to add some lines here, and what this does is going to bridge it out. So as you can see, we got a little bit of a divot there now, which follows this. Just cut this indentation here that I've added. Therefore, I want to figure out how I want to do this actually. Sorry, hold on. Maybe something like, oh, mother chicken. Like this would be maybe a good way of achieving this. Yeah. There we go. Sorry, I was just matching that up. This is going to be a real mission and a half today. Sorry. Looks disgusting, but it works. Not bad. Something interesting I found. I was scrolling through some people on Discord. Turns out an old friend that I used to play with goes to the same school as me, which I was like, oh shit, no way. Kind of random though. I don't know if any of you guys ever find people that you haven't really spoken to in literally forever, and you're just like, oh shit. I join my Discord? Yeah, sure. I used to have I don't know if you have access to it. Not that you don't, but I'll keep it real. I'll keep it real. I don't use it much outside of... Sorry. So, feel free to join. I'm not stopping anybody, and if you want to chat, feel free to message and stuff through there. I'm down to chat whenever I got free time, but I don't spend too much time. I used to put a good bit of time into, you know, I guess having conversations and stuff on Discord, but since I also use Discord for school. We have a lot of class Discords. I struggle a lot with trying to pay attention to my class Discords and important information through there, while also retaining important information through, you know, random strangers and people on the internet through my own service. Unfortunately, I don't use Discord as much as I used to. I used to be very deep into Discord shit, but back when I used to play a heap of games like Warframe, I got pretty big into Warframe and its community. Same with really Warframe. That's all that I can think of. So I say Paladins, but I never really got into the Paladins Discord. I used to back in like 2018 or whatever, but not too much. Sorry, I just realized I don't need to. And let's... Discord seems very popular for gamers and developers. Yeah. Discord is like kind of what Skype used to be now. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how the fuck I want to do this. Um, I enjoy Discord though. Hold on, let me just search something up. Control Shift right click. Control Shift right. That was a lie. Oh, is it tab and drag? Sorry. Yes. Okay. Sick. Okay, that's good. I got that working. It'll make this possible. But yeah, Discord's very good. Well, Discord's good, but it also, there's a lot of curse shit with Discord in it. Stuff that is bad. But, for the most part, Discord's a pretty tame place. There's definitely been some dramas and shit I've come across. Never really been a part of any dramas and stuff. I don't think that shit's worth it. But, shit I'm gonna run into is this shit gonna be too thick? Fuck me. Sorry. Just noticing that we're running into a... Is this gonna match? Sorry. No. Sorry. That match that. Sometimes this is like clicking in and I'm like happy and I'm like and then sometimes it's not clicking. I'm just like, bro, stop making me use my brain here. Annoying. I'll match that and pull these apart. That's right. This is just gonna be a bit tedious, unfortunately. So I gotta do this with a whole layers model, you know? And it's like, nuts. But comes together and it should look pretty good. Like if I turn that off, hide the blade. I mean, we're already getting a pretty snazzy looking blade coming along. That should hopefully in the end come out pretty cool. Right now I just gotta focus on making it run good, as well as I got 27,000. I got technically 500 to work with, but I'm gonna do 27,000 and decrease shit with time. But stuff like that. I'm gonna finish this blade, and then if I have, depending on how much time I have, I'm going to maybe play a game, but I don't think I'm gonna finish in time. I've just noticed the reason why I've like kind of just started actually having to think is I just realized I need to make sure that these match, because if not, then I'm going to be spending a lot of time here making it all look cool, not work cool, which is an issue. So let me extrude that, and I'll probably have to do a bit of like making sure that everything's actually connecting and whatnot, because sometimes you run into stuff like this that isn't connecting. Or it looks like it's connected, but is it really? It's not at all connecting. Fuck me. Way to be annoying. There we go. Gotta be a bit careful with that. Yeah, Discord's pretty rad. I got you got yourself a 4090, but I thought it would be hard to get low FPS in a row. Yes. Here's the thing. Okay, well, some people don't understand. Alright, controversial opinion incoming. People are like, damn, okay, I'm gonna get myself a 4090 for gaming, or I'm gonna get myself a 4080. In my opinion, none of those are worth getting, you know, for gaming. I think at the highest I'd probably say would be a 4080 for very minute cases. Otherwise, like a good 4070 of some kind, like a 4070 Ti of some form is pretty good. Otherwise, just get a, you know, an AMD card. The prices of AMD is significantly cheaper for games, right? But okay, here's what people don't, you know. The prices of NVIDIA cards are ridiculously expensive, especially in comparison to AMD. What we gain as like developers, as 3D artists, as people that use, you know, production shit, we're getting significant. AMD does not hold a candle to NVIDIA for production level shit. For rendering in 3D in something like Blender, your your AMD 7800 XTX, I believe, is the top card. Or is it 7900 XTX? I can't remember. The top card AMD, I've done the math, I've done the research, it about performs as well as like a 4060. Not good, okay? In AMD case, it's good, but with how good NVIDIA is with CUDA and OptiX and shit like that, it's significantly better. And you're paying the premium for that, as, you know, people who plays games, right? And buying cheap cards. So there's the expensive cards, sorry. So when people are like complaining and they're like, it's so expensive, don't buy it, you know? For you and me, it makes sense to have these expensive cards because, you know, this is just gonna be kind of the way that this will benefit us a lot. But for somebody that's normal and is just gonna be playing games, there's no reason for you to be having 24 fucking gigabytes of VRAM. That is a waste. You know what I mean? Why is this being a real goof? Yes, I agree. I said the same. Yeah, I don't know. Some people, I think there's very few cases where I would recommend a 40 series card. I mean, you could argue, but if you're only going to be using it, like you're only updating like once every, you know, massive number of years, then maybe. But outside of that, I don't know, man. I see it and it just kind of hurts me inside. I'm like, bro, you got such a good card and you're not making the most of it, and it hurts me inside when sometimes that is the case. I'm like, come on, dude. You like, even if you're running RTX, like how many games have RTX? And once again, it's like path tracing is when you're making the most of it, really. And something like only Cyberpunk has path tracing. It's because you don't want 100 FPS. Yeah. And then sometimes you see it and people play like the most monotonous games. I'm just like, motherfucker gets expensive card, plays like Valorant or something, and I'm like, Valorant's a CPU it runs on the CPU. It's like it's not made to run on a GPU particularly too well. Like it doesn't, not well, but like the resources it requires, it mostly draws from the CPU instead of the GPU. So you're gonna get more performance having a good GPU, a good CPU, sorry, than a good GPU. It's often the case. Same with like Minecraft, League of Legends, CS:GO. You will greatly benefit from having a good, what's going on here, sorry, CPU compared to having a good GPU. And it just hurts me a bit. But yeah, that's a bit of a painful one, I gotta admit. But wholeheartedly, when it comes to the like 3D sort of shit, I'm like, bro, the pain is real. We gotta spend a lot. Because otherwise it's like a productivity issue. You run into running low on productivity. Or you just physically, there have been occasions where I simply am restricted by my parts. Like I cannot run said program to the extent that I require or something. That can be a case for like the effects often. You need very high RAM. Okay, I've caught up here. This is a bit monotonous, but it's worth it in the end. I just gotta bring that part around, and then it's gonna look really rad. This will look a bit ugly, but it's gonna look a bit like this. 192? That's insane, my dude. I gotta be honest, I kind of scammed myself, but not purposefully. I am running 32 gigabytes of RAM. Here's the kicker, right? So I run 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. I got a 7950X and a 4080. And then I got 32. And my only bottleneck on my PC is the fact that I have 32. 32 is fine for the majority of stuff that I do. You may see I'm running it at 4800 mega transfers. I downclocked my RAM because of the AMD thing. I don't know how much you know about computers. AMD ran into an issue where shit would just brick itself. And I didn't want to run into that, especially when you spend like $1,000 on a chip. So I'm not increasing it above 4800 for a bit, just because to me, I don't find it worth testing for me. But if you're on Intel, then it's like not even an issue. And then I hate fucking AMD running 4 DIMMs. Yeah, that's the issue. So another issue, 4 DIMMs. So that's like 4 RAM slots of RAMs, right? Like all 4 slots are full. Unfortunately for, I think Intel maybe has the same issue, but definitely AMD. Running 4 of them at anything higher than 4800, so XMP would be Intel side, or I think Expo is AMD. They go a little bit fucky and don't do. And it's like, oh, dude, this is a pain in the ass, honestly. I would give anything, dude, because, you know, if I'm doing, like, making a terrain, I want this shit to be good. I want to be able to really... Sorry. Where the... Oh, right, I hit it here. I'm like, was going insane. I'm like, where the fuck is it going, dude? Yeah, I'm just restricted by RAM, unfortunately. All you need is more RAM. I was in the same position. Yeah. I was talking to this guy recently. I don't know if you heard of him, Samuel Kruger. And we were talking about this whole RAM shit and for, I believe, terrains. And apparently you can run it now on AMD, and I mean, obviously you're running it fine. Albeit you're not AMD maybe. But apparently it works. You just gotta be careful because you can't run it at high speeds. But then also you gotta think about it like, you're only getting like maybe a small handful of more FPS in games, and does it matter when you got a fucking these expensive shit? Yeah, that's expensive. That's a good one. That is a good as fuck shit, my dude. Yeah, it was always a bit of a thing, like what's better, the 13900 or the 7950. Came into some cases you'll get better performance with the 7950, some cases you get the 3900 running better. And honestly, being pedantic about it is a waste of fucking time, because the amount of difference you're actually gonna notice is so small. It's not worth fucking stressing over. But some people still will. Which is the conclusion that I've come to with those, and what's better. You're not gonna notice the difference. I do believe the 3900 is a bit better at games, though. Running games. But, once again, who the fuck is gonna notice that? Which I think, yeah, this crazy fucking speed you're getting out of these sorts of things. Sorry, I'm just figuring out how the fuck I want to approach this. Like, maybe I want to go here. It's really ugly geometry, but it also will work with what I'm doing. I don't want to think about computer upgrades anymore. Just missing more SSD. Fuck, dude. That's the thing for some time. Yeah, I don't want to either. I think I'm keeping my one for a good while as well. Because I spent way too much on this one. But I gotta be honest, dude, I'm the same. It doesn't matter how much storage you get, you're always there's gonna be cases where you're just like, oh shit, dude. I'm running out of storage, and I spent, you know, I got, like, for example, me, I'm running 3 terabytes. If I seriously went out and I was just, you know, getting everything I was needing and shit, it's not enough. And it's kind of annoying. Because I'm like, oh, dude, this shit is just... You can never have enough storage, unfortunately. And that's really the sad thing about it, really. And no matter how much storage you get, you're always gonna get it, and you're gonna be happy for like a couple months, then you're gonna be like, ah, fuck. Especially, I don't know if you've dealt with these, but VDBs. I believe Unreal Engine supports VDBs now, which is pretty cool. Albeit, probably doesn't run well, at least definitely not. Do you do games, or do you do, use Unreal for, like, photography and that sort of stuff? Virtual photography? I guess that's what it's called, right? Or something else. There's a lot you can use it for, really, but... Yes, then we got into photogrammetry, and of course we want to keep the pictures in case of software. Yeah. That's me. I'm a bit of a hoarder with my, like, I have a lot of, what? Sorry. I have a lot of, old projects that I keep, like, for example, from old courses that I took, or shit like, I don't know, maybe I need things. And there have been occasions where I've gone, fuck, dude, I'm so glad I saved this project file. But I'll tell you now, that shit, I have an extra hard drive, which arguably hard drive's not the greatest to run this shit on, but for work, and I'm like running out of shit as well there, and I'm just like, oh gosh. Sorry, I don't know if this is actually on the edge. Photogrammetry is a bit stressful though, because it's like a case of you could take pictures and shit and like try to bring it into the program, and then randomly the program's like, I don't think I want to work with you guys actually today, and it's like, what the fuck? I don't know, that was the case for me. The fucking program sometimes is being one stupid... not obviously reality capture though. I've never used it, but heard only good things about reality capture, I'm gonna be honest. Just thinking about how I want to go about this one. Very jealous about Maya. Is it good? Maya is a program. There are some times when I'm like, oh, I love Maya. I only use reality capture and reality scan with... Oh, yeah. There are some cases where I think Maya is great, and there are some things that I will just innately want to use Maya for. There are other cases where I think Blender is better, genuinely. And I would just want to use Blender, which is free software, right? Do I think Maya's worth the price? No, but on the other hand, it's just like, shit's expensive, right? Houdini. Depending on what you're doing. For modeling, Houdini is both technically the best and the worst. Everything's procedural, right, in Houdini. So you could do something and you can make a change at any point. For example, I was learning how to make... I've done a bit of Houdini stuff in the past. Free version, let's preface, okay? I was making clouds in Houdini because I'm on the free version, and you're a bit restricted on the free version. But I was looking to see if you can export and render in other programs, such as Blender. Turns out you can export things to like any extent in Houdini. So one big issue with Houdini free version, the apprentice version, you run into is you can only run it at you can only render at 720p. On the other side, if I go, for example, and export it and render it in Blender, then I'm not losing anything, and I can use apprentice for free. This is loading. Come on. Don't be like this to me, Houdini. Is it not responding? No, it's loading. It's loading. Houdini, oh. Is it? Oh no, that's right. I set it at a rather ridiculous... Why is it already on stage? Hold on. That probably didn't help. I was trying to render it all. Here we go. I had a cloud that I was making, because I wanted to see if I could export onto, so I was following a video. The cloud came out alright. I don't have a... Be careful with temps, maybe. Ironic thing, okay. Ironic thing. These both our chips are really good with running high. I got a bit scared because I'm like, oh, I got myself a full-on, you know, water cooling. Well, I got an AIO, right? And everything, and it's like expensive chip and everything. I'm running at like fairly high temps. Like I'll be running maybe 80 degrees, 70 to 80 degrees for like hard shit. I'm like, dude, I got expensive as cooling, and I got a lot of people that I spoke to ask, you know, what would be good and what's good, and available here. And I'm getting average cooling. Oh man, this sucks. Turns out our chips run really hot, and they're just really good at running hot. There's no real downside to running them hot. So I think ours can run at like 110, 115. All they're gonna do is just keep going and going and going. And if it's not hitting those temps, then you're fine. Then it's not using the most that it can. I believe. I could be wrong. Let's see if I can find that one. Oh, that was a I was learning by Samuel Kruger, guy I mentioned before. He's really good with these sorts of clouds and shit. Houdini. And then I exported import instead of export because I misclicked. But let me downsize. G. Yeah, and let's see what this looks like. This isn't gonna run well. These are ass. Oh, right. Okay, let me actually... Well, here you can see it actually works fairly well. But, yeah, I mean, you can kind of see. This looks pretty good, and it's pretty passable cloud. So I came out, and I'm like, you know, considering I can use Houdini for free, I'm pretty happy. But for 3D modeling, it exists. It just takes forever. The amount of nodes required is a bit ridiculous. I personally would just use Blender for those sorts of things. Why don't it set to 128 samples? Poor choice, poor choice. Personal program that I use this program Embergen. Not as good as Houdini by any means, but it's also really good. You can get some crazy looking stuff. Let me find a fancy preset. This isn't gonna run too well. This is for 24 GB of VRAM. I've got 16, but when it loads. Bro, I'm not seeing anything, and I don't think you guys are either. Imaging seems also Cascader, yes. Why am I not seeing this? Cascader, from what I've seen, is actually pretty cool. I have a friend who does animations. Don't know why that wasn't working. Oh, here we go. Well, this way you can. This one is actually running. That's something that's pretty fucking sick. All right. You can get some crazy stuff. I made a couple of nukes and I've done a couple projects in here, but a lot of that are on older versions. I've been testing some of the new stuff like Liquidgen. I was working on a project. One thing that I found they did amazingly well. Somehow their render engine is like really good for these sorts of things. Hold on. Now, unfortunately, the simulation doesn't work, but this is an insane looking glass. I've tried this. I've brought this into other programs, and it does not look as good. I made this, and I didn't make it particularly well, so unfortunately it's not great. But for like a 5-minute wine glass I made, it looks pretty damn good in Engine. Cascader does seem cool though. Really awesome. Thank you. Don't really know how I want to go about this one, but yeah, I'm intrigued with Cascader, honestly. Cascader's not like the biggest program out there at the moment, but I'm not too sure why it's not being used by a lot more, really. With, I guess, what you can really achieve with Cascader. Like, it is an exceptional program for what it brings to the table. Sorry, what's going on there? Let me connect these. But yeah, and it's free from what I understand. Just like, shit, that's almost a no-brainer, right? But I'm sure there's something to it. But it's AI, and this is like the good form of AI. I am very anti-AI, but this is the only form of AI I will accept. That and, like, you know, rigging, please make something for rigging. I'm begging you. or you know, retopology. This is like, I'm dying right now. I'm not enjoying this. If I could get some stupid AI program to do this for me, I would be incredibly happy to not be dealing with this. Hey, oh, what the fuck have I done? Thank you, thank you. Sorry, I'm just listen. I got no clue what I'm doing with some of this shit, you know what I mean? We never really have been... We haven't gone, unfortunately, too much into these sorts of things in my class, unfortunately. Into retopology and stuff. I dislike it, though. Retopology is just such... It's like such a long time to achieve. Like, yeah, you get a nice result, but it's also like... I don't know. I feel like I could spend that time elsewhere, and something like sorry, I'm just trying to match it up with this. You know, you could spend so much more time making more models. You know how many models I could make in the time that it takes to retopologize? Probably more than one. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those cases where I'm just like... It's a bit of a... just pain in the ass. And it takes so long. Especially if you want to make it good. Now, arguably, I'm incredibly pedantic about this. Like, we could... In the industry, you're not having to worry about some stupid ass, like, 2700 is your poly count limit. No, that's not something you're dealing with, right? But, like, you got poly count limits, right? But, not this low. But, unfortunately, I think it's good, though. We are set... Sorry, this is just being a bit of a willy. You set pretty good stuff, I think, in the industry, but right now we set hard goals to hit, but if you can hit those goals, you can always work higher, but some people can't work lower. Especially a lot of people that rely on nanite. Some of these games, like you see a lot of these games coming out, and I'm just like, ooh, there's a bit of a reliance on nanite happening right now. And maybe that's the reason why some of these games are coming out not very optimized. Not necessarily. Nanite's not the only reason, there's a multitude of reasons. Yeah, let's target the... Dude, don't even say that. There's a... I can't remember the game. I think it's some EA game that came out last year. And it's like... I think the minimum spec was a 2080 or something. And I'm like, 2080, dude. Now, in my brain, 2080s were a couple years ago. They're more than a couple years ago now, but they're not that long ago. I think they're like 6 years. And I think the issue is when you look on, for example, Steam, how, like, you know, who's running what, right? You gotta look at what people are using. And most people are using, I think it's moving up to almost a 3060, but you still a lot of people running on 10 series cards. You see a lot of people using even 1080s. Hey Rena, how's it going? So it's like, you gotta make sure that the vast majority of audience can actually run the game, because there's no point making a game that nobody's gonna be able to run. Okay, it won't run on 2060 then. No, 2080 is the issue here though. 2080, which is that's a lot of VRAM. That's a not too old card, unfortunately. I don't know the comparison, but it might be like a 3070. I'm unfortunately running out of water, but I'm tempted to grab a. Just thinking about how long it's going to take me to finish these, and if I can be bothered finishing this off before I grab some water. But yeah, I don't know. There's some things these days that I'm just like, what are you doing? Because I don't know, you gotta have people be able to run your game. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point? Sorry. Just trying to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna achieve this. Did you buy? Did you study any laser versus cameras? And with photogrammetry? I think I've seen some laser shit, but I haven't done enough. I don't like the sound of that, mate. That's a lot of money. That is a ridiculous amount of money. $10,000. I don't know what that actually like looks like in regards to setup price. Being completely honest, but I mean, I don't know what you're getting in terms of performance increase with that, really. Not performance. Fuck, what am I even on about? In terms of like how much more, like what is it like? How much better quality the shit's gonna be? Is it? Do you think it's justified getting a 10,000? A lot of vertices here. 40k laser. This isn't very thin. Sorry, I'm just wondering how the fuck I achieved that. 10,000 is a bit of money, dude. I've looked into like point clouds and stuff like that for photogrammetry. I've seen point clouds, at least for a bit, was very big. I don't know if those, how viable they are though. Sorry, I'm so lost in what I've made here. The question is, how hard is it to use a laser? True, my dudes. Probably hard. Expensive. And is it truly worth using over something like a just normal photogrammetry? Does that do anything? Ah, you chicken. Sorry, I'm just I know. Sort this out. Sorry, I'm just like using all like 15 brain cells. I was wondering how the fuck I'm supposed to bridge this. Oh, like, what is going on? What is going on? Hold on. Oh, what is this? Let's see it out. Right, honestly. The issue is, I arguably shouldn't have this edge, and I was going to try do it, go without the edge, but then I feel like I'm going to cause more issues than I'm going to save by removing this edge, because there are some parts that hold an edge, and then swapping between no edge and edge can cause issues. So, also this might look a little bit better if I can retain it, but what? Okay, hold on. What has happened here? That is part of my issue. It was cursed from the start. Okay. Please. Okay, that's working. That's working. Progress has been made. Ah, oh, you chicken. What is this green box? And how do I get rid of it? One thing that I can think... Usually what I'd do is I'd make a... Genius plan. Hold up. Hide this. Bro. Who is the genius here? Me. Watch this. Bridge. Who is not the bridge here? Wait, no. Did that work? Yes, it did work. Okay, sweet. I go back to claiming I'm the boss at this. Oh, what is this? Okay, I fix that geometry in a minute. I don't know why it wasn't working there, but that is a method of fixing it. Bridging it, and then fixing those issues. Here. I'm gonna fix those issues some other point. It is not a nighttime brain type of move. Let's be honest there. Please. What I like is sometimes when I press shift, I get this green markup of it connecting, and it is incredibly helpful. Here we go. So it means I don't have to deal with this stupid bridging. What I have to do here. Oh, no, that works. Man. I gotta be honest, I gotta get into some photogrammetry. I've tried it in a bit. Honestly, it's incredibly off-putting with all the times that it's just never worked for me. But I gotta be honest, if it worked, I probably would use it a bit more. I would at least play around with it a bit more. With the program that I use, sorry. This isn't like a generalization here. Not not trying to generalize. I'm generalizing the program that I use, okay? It doesn't work. I've been scammed. But, start with reality scan, yeah, 100%. Yeah, so you think you mentioned in a month it's going to be available, so I'm definitely going to have to check that out. Now, unfortunately, how helpful it's probably going to be with me in game development, probably not too much. But I think exploring these things is not a necessity, but something worth doing, because even if it doesn't necessarily help you, it's lessons that can be applied at a later stage. Which is very helpful. There's been some assessments I've done, for example, where I've just been like, you know, being able to make the most of some information I knew prior in some like random ass program, and I'm like, so glad. Whatever that pitch is, I think it's like at least 40% of what you already took. Yeah. A lot of overlap is the thing. That's why the old technique seemed to do a decent job of video just recording it, because if you're recording shit's overlapping anyway, it just means that it's going to take way long to load everything when you got like some crazy amount of some like 1,000 pictures. Albeit when you're doing like real big photogrammetry, I'd assume you'd be using like thousands of pictures anyway to make sure something's good. So I don't think that's too like surprising for some. We'll do a bunch of stones. Sick. You know, I actually think I enjoy stones, but like making stones myself. I made one on ZBrush, and I'm gonna be honest, as much as I hate ZBrush, I enjoyed that. So stones is always something cool, actually. Overlooked, you know? Stones are sick. And there's so much that you can do, like, in terms of style and design, and, like, do you want them to be big and round, or rocky? I don't know. You know, there's a lot of designs, and no design's necessarily wrong. And with your photogrammetry, you get like some wide range. Just finding a bunch of cables or going to something like a stream, for example, and finding the stuff there. You find stuff that's like some of those, the way that water erodes stone and shit. It's kind of cool. It's definitely something that, I don't know, the more that you can actually think and look about, it kind of starts actually being less boring. When you just think, it's a fucking stone, and a stone's a stone, right? But yeah. Meteors are a completely different story now. I made I used this terrain software, GeoGen, made by the same guys that did Embergen. I made a bunch of tutorials on that program actually. I kind of want to do more, but it's so hard to find time to learn and come up with designs with college around. But I gotta admit, like, I made an asteroid kind of thing out of a terrain software I did. So they have planets that you can make in this program, and I gotta be honest, this was a big brain move on their end because it's a triangle. I lied, it's not a triangle. Because there's no other terrain software that can do those sorts of things. And you'd be surprised about the amount of people that would want that. And so I get some good views on those sorts of things because kind of marketing of people being interested in shit that they unfortunately aren't able to make the most of what's going on here. Sorry, let me bridge that. Do that, and here we go. Now we get shit going here. There we go. Sorry, let me dinkle donk, dinkle donk. Do you try the new Microsoft app to do? Is it Microsoft app to do? Sorry, let me just make that match a little bit better. So like to do. Just make sure I'm not leaking any shit, sorry. Hold on, let me close this just to make sure I don't got no fucking weird naming or anything. Be careful. Sometimes you gotta be careful. There's been a couple of times where I've been like, oh, hold on a minute. I don't know if I want to be sharing this when it randomly pops up. I did run into one issue one time. This seems actually interesting. I'm gonna have to keep track on that. Thanks for pointing that out, actually. Because I gotta be honest, there have been times I need calendars and shit, especially for some of these assessments. But I gotta be honest. Okay, one time I was streaming, and I gotta be careful of this. And I was, what was it? I was trying to search something up in my Windows thing. Accidentally pops up like in something that I signed an NDA for not leaking or anything. I'm like, oh fuck! Instantly deleted that fucking the whole fucking stream though, so she didn't leak. And I didn't have like anybody really watching at that period of time, so I was like, oh shit, that was close. But I gotta be honest, sometimes I kind of almost fucked myself over there. You gotta be awfully careful with that shit sometimes, you know? It's surprising. You know, people like, sometimes I think, you know, oh, streaming, it's not that bad, you know? What issues can you run into? And then fucking issues arise, and I'm like, never mind then. I gotta be extra fucking careful sometimes. Okay, this is not bad. Doesn't look good, but there is a context. I just gotta look for weird geometry like that. Okay, so that's fine that it's gonna be weird warpage there, because everything's gonna be malleable, so even though that looks fucking weird, everything works out fine. Some things I might not want to do that, though, I'm not too sure. I have to play around with some of this, but I think this is good. This is good, actually. So, I've got a... This is both good and bad. Hide an edge, just so I can actually see what I'm messing around with. What I have is... I'm going to remove this. I'm going to name this geo underscore blade underscore low. So what I'm working with, hold on, we're working on it. Oh, I'm pressing J. I'm like, why is this not working? This is being awfully painful. Here we go. Is it great? No, but I want to do a little work in terms of texturing, so we're still learning ZBrush and stuff, so it's not particularly too amazing. And I've done a bit of work in Substance before. I've got a couple, I think maybe like 2 years of Substance, so I sort of know what I'm doing there. So I want to, I'm gonna get most of the actual realism looking shit in there, but my ZBrush knowledge is of this year pretty much, so it's pretty hilly, but I hope it'll come together pretty well. We're all pretty inexperienced with some of this sort of shit, like, so I'm not too worried about me not being the greatest, because as long as I'm good as the rest of my team, we're working in teams, sort of. What we need to do is we need to replicate each other's styles and be able to keep it all, you know, pretty similar. So in the I probably won't show just because I don't have people's permissions, but in the context of that, this stuff's kind of fine. I go here because let me test. Okay, here we go. Actually, no, there's no point down there. Here's I was playing around with some rocks. Now I'll open up Substance Painter. So, for example, one assessment. I'm probably gonna end stream soon because it's kind of late, and I was gonna hop off at 9:30, but I wanted to finish this. Because I really wake up. But the first part of this assessment was making a rock. I'll show you that. Which I thought came out pretty good. So it doesn't necessarily matter how I end up doing my things, because as long as the textures end up coming out well, it generally works itself. So I got this rock that I worked on. We're going for like pretty mostly realistic. So this is a fairly low poly object to preface, as you can see. So I'm not working with much, unfortunately, in terms of poly count, but in terms of like ending, this came out pretty well, I believe. Fairly realistic. Some things that I wish I had a bit more knowledge on, but unfortunately teachers are teaching more non-realistic stuff, so I kind of have to teach myself a bit of stuff. I did another version of Marmoset. I'm trying to learn Marmoset texturing. And I came out with a pretty cool looking rock, but it was more of a joke rock that I was fucking around with. Which is why there's a bunch of, like, not filters, but it's a bit overblown if you catch my drift. I got like a vignette, I got mad grain, I got some crazy what's it called? Like it is quite focused. A low aperture is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, it's fucking around. There's the same rock that I've done in Marmoset. So actually this one looks pretty cool, but not using. Thank you. I think this one's at 4K, whereas we have to do it in 1080p, not 1080, 1024. This isn't gonna look good because the textures will look fine, but the normal map will look bad. But this is, for example, 4K. You can start getting a lot better. I just have to remake a lot of stuff to fit within that if I were to do it all in 4K. But unfortunately, we're lacking a lot of resolution with 1024, and yeah. But then you can get away with some shit looking not great because it wouldn't look great anyway. I don't know. But thank you. That was a bit of a joke. I made that one in like 10 minutes. That little render there. But I'm gonna end stream and I'm going to go to sleep because it's getting pretty late. But thank you, Mads, for chatting this whole time. It's been, I highly appreciate that. Some interesting stuff. I definitely need to keep track of that to-do list, my dude. Because that's going to be really helpful. But otherwise, thank you the rest of you guys that popped in. My chat seems to be broken. Here we go, it's back up. But yeah, otherwise, thank you everybody else for popping by. Thank you Game Talker and Kasha for popping in as usual. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Not sure. I might stream tomorrow. I possibly won't. I do have some plans tomorrow, but maybe I can stream for a little bit before then. We'll see. Anyway, appreciate it. Thank you for popping by, and hey, down to chat next time and stream. End up streaming if times align. But yeah, thank you, and we'll catch you guys next time. See you later. Bye bye.